Alright, what is up YouTube? So today we're just doing some simple stuff. I'm going to be taking the intake manifold apart on the M42 car. I'm still having a crank. It takes just forever to crank and then go. So I was going to do the fuel pump real quick. My dad said double check the idle air control valve because that has to do with the cold start priming. It allows less air, more fuel. Makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to take apart the intake real quick, clean everything out, see if that helps. If that doesn't, I have a fuel pump from the 328 because I switched to a Walbro 485, I believe. So could always throw that in because I believe those ones throw a little bit more fuel, but since there's a regulator in the car anyway, it doesn't even matter because it's going to get the same amount of fuel anyway. It's just going to be working less hard. So yeah, I'm going to take this all apart and I'll show you all that. Cool. So I forgot to mention the M42 intake manifold, super easy to take apart. It's literally bolt here, here, and here. Those three come off, you disconnect the intake and this little vacuum hose here, and it just pops right off. So yeah, I'm going to time lapse it. All right, sick. So as you saw, that took like 4 minutes. So now I'm going to take the idle air control valve off, clean it all out. Gonna double check all the fuel lines that are running to the injectors because that was another thought that I had. Maybe it's not getting enough fuel at the injectors. But yeah, since it's all apart, that'll take 30 seconds. So yeah, I'll just keep showing you what's going on. So I don't know if you can see it in the time lapse as I was taking these apart. These were all frayed. That one's not too bad, but that's because I cut it. Yeah, so these were all cracked and frayed. I believe those are just the injector return lines. They just snug right up on the side of the injectors there because these are top feed injectors. Actually, yeah. Sorry, I got confused for a split second. But yeah, those are the return lines. They run to the idle air control valve. So I'm wondering if those were also creating a bit of a not accurate reading here. So I'm gonna clean this up now, throw it back all together, and yeah, I guess we'll see if it then starts easier. I also have a little intake pipe, and I'm gonna throw the electric fans on most likely. So stay tuned. So to clean the idle air control valve, super simple. All you do is get some carb cleaner or whatever. I've used mass airflow sensor cleaner and random, literally just any cleaner. You spray it in there, shake it around a bit. You can hear that little pin. So once it starts getting free like that, you know you're doing good. So I'm gonna keep spraying this down. Gonna lube it up a little bit too, but it's definitely starting to loosen up. It felt a little tight when I took it out. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I just did this not too long ago, but I might just have to get another one. So gonna clean it up, lube it up, and throw it back in. Alrighty, so we got the idle air control valve back in here all cleaned up. We got the new hoses running to the injectors. I think that's just a vent. I mentioned earlier, I didn't know if that was a return line or a vent, but since it's running to air, it only makes sense that it's a vent. So I'm going to toss the intake manifold back on. You probably don't want to watch that a second time, so I'm just going to snap and like that. We have the intake manifold back together. So what I'm going to do next is throw the intake on. I'm going to try to put this little pipe here so that I can put it down where the air box is, get rid of the air box, clean up the engine bay a little bit because I don't drive this car a whole ton in terrible weather, so it's not like it's going to be directly exposed, so it should be fine tucked down there. Alrighty, so I got everything cleaned up, everything tightened up, all the vacuum lines and all that, the hose clamps all good. So I ended up putting this little extender here in the intake down where the horn was. I got to double check, make sure that it's going to clear at full lock. As you can see, it's in there. I think it's going to clear. If not, I can always go back to the setup that I had. But I thought this would be kind of cool. Might give it some more intake noises. If not, that's pretty much why I did this. I wanted to see if it's going to give it more intake noise, because while I don't hate how this car sounds, I would like a little more intake than exhaust note. So yeah, we're just kind of playing around with it. Alrighty, so it did start up. It took a second. I'm gonna turn it off and turn it back on in a minute and see if like it was just gunked up from the cleaner that was in the IAC. But it sounded like it started a little bit easier, other than it popped once, but I think that was the cleaner again. So this sounds pretty neat. Give a little, sounds a little more intakey, I don't know. I'm gonna keep tinkering with it. I'm probably gonna end up throwing the electric fan on either today or tomorrow. But yeah, definitely making some progress on this thing. Yeah, so like I said when I was doing that intake, I don't know if it's going to have any actual performance enhancements, but it sounds more intakey to me. I don't know. Mess around with it, see if it stays on at full lock. I'll turn the wheels in a minute and double check. So I don't know if this is going to be its own video or if it's going to roll into tomorrow, just because I already have one video that's going to be rolling out today. So on the yellow car, still pretty much where it was. I took everything apart, cleaned it. It's still taking a long time to crank. I don't know why it's doing that. It's almost like it has like a wrong setting for cold start premixture or something. But what's weird is that it does it even when the car's warm. So if you warm it up, turn it off, and then go to turn it back on, it just sits there and cranks. So I'm wondering if it's a fuel delivery issue. I could check at the rail, see if I have good pressure, check at, I mean, I guess I could check each injector if I pull them out and see if they're pulsing on when I prime it. But I'm hoping that that we can avoid that, and hopefully it turns out to be something simple. But I don't know. I'm going to keep tinkering with it probably tomorrow, maybe later today, but I'm going to bring them on a quick hike, and we'll see where it goes from there. What is up, YouTube? So this is going to be just circling into the last video. So the idle air control valve did not do the trick. The car still is having an issue starting. I think that it might be a fuel issue, so what I'm going to do is throw the fuel pump from my 328, because I upgraded to a Walbro 485, into this car. I believe they're the exact same. If not, the 328 one has a little bit more flow, but since the car has a stock fuel pressure regulator, it shouldn't allow any more fuel than stock to go through. If it does turn out to be an issue, I'll just run over to the auto parts store or FCP and grab another pump, but I'm going to try throwing it in for now. So as you saw, super easy to pull it out. So this is the actual pump. I have the spare one right there. This pump looks pretty much brand new. It's all shiny and silver and whatnot, but I'm not hearing it prime, which is leading me to believe that it's failing. And also someone was telling me that that rev cut issue that I'm having can also be from lack of fuel. So could be a fuel pump issue. I'm gonna swap the other one in real quick, and we'll see. All right, cool. So I swapped pumps. I just got to throw the little bushings right here in the holder. I'm going to go drop it in the tank, tighten everything down, and we're going to see if it starts. All right, so I got everything tightened up back here. Now I'm going to throw the key in the ignition, let it prime for a sec, and we'll see if it starts. Well, so I'm a bit confused because it was semi-starting before this, and now it seems like it's kind of dead in the water. Weird. Maybe the 328 fuel pump isn't compatible. I don't know. Yeah, so I might be an idiot. Car was pop starting before this. It didn't seem to want to crank to start, so I decided to try to pop start it rolling down the driveway. And now I'm stuck at the bottom of the driveway and the battery's dead. So I'm probably going to swap the batteries real quick and keep looking. I tried swapping the fuel pump relay because I figured I've gone this far. But I'm thinking what's next is probably the fuel filter potentially, but yeah, I really don't know what's good with this thing. I was also thinking if I'm gonna run the FCP, might as well grab a throttle position and a crank sensor, just for ease of mind. But yeah, I don't know. All right, so I'm kind of jumping all over the place. The car did get stuck at the bottom of the driveway. We pulled it up using the truck. And now I'm checking to see if I'm getting fuel through the fuel filter. I'm wondering if it's clogged up there. Next, I'll check at the rail. And then another thing I was thinking was change the camshaft position sensor. Because under the intake manifold, there's also a few wires. And at one point, I definitely switched 1 or 2 plugs because my temp gauge doesn't work. So I doubt that that's what's actually leading to this whole issue, because that's been like that for over a year, so that would make no sense. But I'm gonna see if I'm getting fuel, see if I'm getting spark. I already checked for spark the other day. I was getting it, but now the car seems to be not wanting to start on its own at all, whereas I was able to pump the gas and get it to go a couple days ago. So I'm thinking it's either a fuel filter or the idle air control valve could still be one of the issues. When I was cleaning it up, doing all that, it felt like it loosened up a bit, but inside you could definitely see some rust. So I'm wondering if the actual little piston seized. So gonna tinker around and I'll give you an update. All right, guys, so I just got a new relay, tested it out. The car is still cranking, not starting. I think it must be a fuel issue at this point. I replaced the pump with a 328 pump. I put the new fuel filter in. I replaced some of the fuel lines because they were kind of old. Didn't look like they were leaking, but I figured couldn't hurt. So replaced those with new fuel line. Yeah, at this point I'm thinking it's either the fuel pump or the cam position sensor. That seems to be a common reason for a crank no start. The only thing is that I'm getting spark, so I don't really see how it could be that, because the people that seem to be having that issue, it seems to be mainly no spark is what their symptom is. But all I'm getting is I'm getting fuel to the fuel filter, because when I took that all apart, the thing was full of fuel. I can pick it up. It's still over here. It's still got fuel in it. So, like, there's fuel running. I didn't know if maybe it had a slight clog and it was making it so it had a low fuel pressure. I think there is a way to check the fuel pressure at the rail on this car. I'm going to look into that tonight. And that'll be in the next video. I'm probably gonna check fuel pressure at the rail, check, I don't know, maybe I'll just send it on a new fuel pump, because it was running before I swapped the fuel pump, so I don't see how putting a fuel pump in it would make it not run, other than it's a 328 pump, so maybe it's doing something wacky. And I think that's kind of gonna close it out for today, because I don't really have much more to do. I already did like all the random things that I had to test, but I just took Bim on a little walk after going to the parts store, so he's nice and tired out. And yeah, it's gonna be time to go lift and do some homework on this and get back at it probably on Wednesday, because tomorrow I'm busy. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll get back to you soon.